All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Overtime with myself, Mr. Fantastic, and
Emanuela.
yes, and today we've got two very special guests in the building. I've known these two for like years, man, like years. And would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Yes.
So I'm Janine. Okay. I'm gonna go first.
Ladies first.
Okay. So I'm Janine, and you are.
I'm Eddie, and yeah, that's different story for a different day. Yeah, let's go.
But yeah, I genuinely just thought, like, first time I heard about Holy Spirit, I literally just thought, yeah. I remember me and my friends, like, there was like four of us who were, because in the church at the time, there was only like four of us that were like the same age. I think one's in bin right now. The other one,
Bin.
huh?
Wait, what was that?
Bin, he's in prison.
Prison.
Oh, Pen.
Yeah, well, I say bin, innit? Bin,
Oh gosh.
Prison.
Prison. It's not.
The doghouse,
That's
whatever you want to call it.
The doghouse.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so one of them.
Oh, that's sick.
That's no sick, bro.
I hopefully
Hey, man.
then that's
Free my guy up in the bin, man.
Free all my lifers.
Free my guys in the can, man. In the
Yeah, can's
can.
another one.
Well, quick question.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Being in church and growing up in church and then ended up in prison, that's like your accusation levels, because in prison you have like, that's your thinking time. You're thinking like you haven't got that much time to interact with outside, so you're in your thoughts. Like the accusation, like the regret in that moment must be so like I'm here, I know the truth, how does this happen?
I got friends that have been to prison and came out and they were still on crud. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you were in there doing time. Like, man was just banging weights. Like, he didn't care.
But I feel like it's more
Banging weights and growing a beard. Came out still. What would you say?
I said sometimes it's more of like they're in there, they feel guilty because of remorse in it, but there's no actual repentance. Yeah. So then when they come out, it's like, yep, I'm out.
I feel like that's also another thing as well, especially with like if you grew up in church, you get like repentance and remorse confused, if that makes sense. So you just become a person that you feel bad. Like, listen, guys, I've made every prayer. Have you ever repented so much that you need to start changing the way that you pray?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
God, it was every day. God, forgive me for my sins. And then I was like, no, I need to juice it. Like, this needs to be a bit
real.
more.
Like you say,
I need
forgive me
to
for my
give
sins
more.
every day.
Like,
Like,
makes sense.
you know what? You start saying that this is the last time. Actually, no. God, I've been falling
It's
so much.
It's the
I'm gonna make.
He doesn't know anything.
Another mistake. God,
you know
I'm
just
gonna
there,
make
just like-
another mistake. You know I'm gonna make another mistake. You know I'm gonna flop.
You know you're lying.
You know,
like,
you know. But God, I don't want to.
There was one point I got mad. I just said I'm not going to pray anymore. I just sat on my bed. I said I'm changing, no prayer. I went back and did the same thing. But yeah, I feel like that's just what happens. Like, it becomes, you have this remorse because I feel like you have the knowledge, but not the understanding. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I grew up knowing I shouldn't swear. That didn't stop me from swearing, but I'm like, I shouldn't do that. Do you get what I'm saying? So my parents never heard me swear. I would never swear in church. In school, it would walk into me, you see a different Samuel. Do you get what I'm saying? And there were certain things that I knew weren't right. And it's like, but I didn't understand the importance of change, like how deep repentance was and everything like that. But I knew that I had that knowledge. So when I would do it, I would feel bad. But it's just I'm just going back because I never had that understanding. Was it like this? Like, what do you guys think? Was it like the same with you lot?
Right.
I feel like it's even. It's similar. Like, it's like when you, because me, especially it's similar to like when you even learn to read the Bible before. You knew the Bible before, but now it's like I can read, and it's not literally what the words are telling me. That there's more to it. There's more, because when I tell you, reading the Bible and there being a message just for you and the person next to you is getting something up.
We had
I didn't get it.
a children's Bible here. Did you have
Yeah,
a children's
definitely.
Bible? Have you ever read the same story that you would bang out and the children
didn't.
would be like, bro, this is different. Just like, this is mad. Like, we read the Old
I didn't have that.
Testament, and you're
And it's
like,
not the
yo,
same.
Jesus
Most of the
was on,
stories are
I mean, not Jesus, God was on crud. Why did they tell me this when I was a kid?
Lord, yeah. I
What?
would be more interested.
God was
Trust
just
me.
killing everyone.
Like-
He was like, everyone can get it. But you just reading it, and all you had was just love. And I feel like that's also another thing as well, because I feel like when I got to like a certain age, like when I got to like 12, kind of like 12, 13, you're going into secondary school, like you're seeing stuff. Like when you go into secondary school, like everything changes, man. Your mind opens. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's like there's still, I go to like Sunday school, and it's still, they're not teaching me the way that I'm learning outside, if that makes sense.
I feel like
Right.
the level of maturity is different, because they think, I feel like in the church you expect, like in churches they expect kids to be like, oh, this is how you do this, but in school I already know this. I already know. They're not like, the way they introduce things is not with like carefulness. They're not slowly introduced, mate. They're giving you all. It's giving
just
all in the
bam
book.
in your
They're giving you the
face
whole
one time.
package. You get it? There's no, oh, let me slowly introduce it. No, they're slapping it in your face. But like, I feel like the difference is like, even if you deep the books that they give you, even the stories that they give, have you ever deeped a kid's Bible? The stories are all the stories that we like to hear. Like, it's the stories that don't slap us with the truth. They're all the stories that, oh, they're not going to really, it's like, okay, Jesus did this, or he taught us to be kind, he taught us to be loving. But there's no, oh, God saw this person and he saw him and he said, you need to change. There was none of that. I never heard a story like that. Not in my children's Bible. And I realized like
children's
how
Bible
much...
doesn't say go and sin no more.
Yeah, no, it said he went away.
Just say he left. Like,
Where's the
okay.
rest?
The children's Bible don't say, repent.
Yeah.
Repent.
Do you know what I mean?
No, it just says, it just says like,
rainbows.
go on.
Yeah, literally. Sorry. But then kids in the world, you explain to them, you give them a topic that they should not know about. They're going to tell you from top to bottom, and you don't even expect them to know that much. I'm talking about kids now as young as, not even secondary school, primary school.
Listen, I'm telling you, Judgment Day, you're going to look in that line, you're going to see kids in primary school.
Picking 7-year-olds.
Just, bro, we did it. He's going to look at you, tell you to shut up. You're going to be, oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep.
Do you know, and I feel like that's also another thing as well. Like, obviously, I'm like, we're not here, I'll be honest, like, I'm not here to like gun down any kind of how can I say, any kind of like Sunday school, any kind of Sunday school teaching. Of course, it needs to be slowed down. Do you get what I'm saying? There's certain things that you hear in services that, bro, will confuse you, man. One day, the pastor, I'll never forget, I can't remember the verse, but it speaks about the servant that owed the master. And then the master, he begged the master for forgiveness. The master forgave. Then he went to go to his colleague and started strangling his colleague. Like, kids will just be like, why is the guy in the Bible strangling someone? Do you get what I mean? So obviously you need to water it down for kids. But I just feel like in the world that we live in today, not even today, even when like we were kids.
No, I feel like it's a more of a today thing, because even when we was younger, there was still bits of innocence. So it made sense to why we
I was an innocent child.
Take a Bible story to a kid right now, they're laughing in your face. There was still a bit of interest. I feel like that's what kind of like that's what marks the difference. Like there was a bit of an interest when we was younger. Now there's like no interest in, and the thing is they know the truth and there's no interest. That's the scary part. Like, and you're still not interested.
Is there a difference, or we just don't see it?
With the maturity of levels or how much we know?
No, not like with the lack of interest that we had and them. Do you think it's changed, or it's still this, or it's just that because we're on a different side of the spectrum, it's like the way how the adults looked at us as kids, we now look at them like we're doing the same thing.
Let me use an example.
Yeah.
When we were younger, were we ever telling our parents, no, we're not going to church, or oversleeping, and then our parents leaving us? Never. But it happens. Like,
I tried that once.
Where's your daughter? She just stayed at home. She said she's not coming. My mom will put my clothes there. You're coming out. If not, the water's getting sprinkled on me. Yeah.
There was
don't
one
wake up.
day I was
Okay.
playing. Every time
Okay.
I had Nintendo Wii, I was playing NBA. My mom went and switched it off, bro, in front of me. Said you got 5 minutes to get ready.
I would just
In the
make us
morning?
say it on
Wow.
purpose.
Listen, I was addicted to video games, man. To put it down. Said 5
Yeah,
minutes.
bro.
You went for a jeans, little t-shirt, just sat in the car like this.
Vexing, angry.
And I had
Yeah.
no choice, man.
But you know what?
Bro,
There's
trust me, I was forced to go to church. Like there was no option like that, and that's one reason why like so much kids like don't like the things of God, because like
Yes.
It was
like,
forced upon them.
they get like
I feel like it's the
Yes,
way
like,
that it's forced.
pushed
though.
on them basically.
I feel
But
like it's
in a
the way that
way-
it's forced. Because you
Yeah, I
can't
feel
be
like in
too
a way-
lenient. Because if you're too
Yeah.
lenient, they're not gonna
They're
have.
just gonna rebel.
Because for instance, with me, like my mom, I could say forced me, but the way that she did it was like, okay, I'm going to church. I'm listening. She'll listen. My mom will make me pray. You know, I wouldn't pray. My mom would pinch me.
Wow.
Well,
That's crazy.
my mom would be praying, and I'll tap her. I say, I need to go to the toilet. I'll get pinched. Like I had to hold it in until
Oh,
after.
I knew I was
the
playing
pinches.
games.
If they got you under your leg, you know it was a wrap.
Yeah, but it's like still, I would still hear things, and then with these things that I would hear, it's like they're always there in the back of your mind. Do you get
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying?
feel like
They're
that's
always there.
I feel like to an
Do you want to say
extent.
something, Ella?
No.
Oh,
I'm
your
just, I'm
hand
just
is up.
thinking everything that
It's
no,
like this.
Yeah.
It's
Nah,
like, does she want to
it's
say
alright.
something?
I feel like
no, everything. Oh no,
go on.
no, everything that you guys are saying, mine was just the opposite. Like
What was it? Okay.
completely opposite. Like how you're saying how even you'd hear things will go to the back of your head. Mine flew past my head. Like I could not care. Everyone knew I didn't care. Like I didn't care. I don't know what it
Have
was.
friends in
Maybe
church.
it was.
But do you think
Huh?
that's down
Of
to
You had
course.
friends in church. You had friends.
Yeah, but I play games. I do what I want. No one. Of course, people were concerned, but I didn't care.
No, but
So,
I don't mean in the sense of like, I feel like my friendships in church kind of was like, I knew Sundays were going to be fun for me. Like I was excited. When I was a kid, I was excited to go to church
I wasn't.
because I knew it would be fun. Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, for night vigils.
Eddie, was it with you that I would play football in the church? Or was that someone else?
Football.
Okay, that was
Football.
someone else. Yeah, I used to.
Nah, nah.
Bro. Me, I was I brought basketball to church.
Inside.
Seriously.
Listen, fam, there was
Oh,
one
no.
day they
I
walked
feel like
the
football-
balls on the altar. Only reason why I
What?
was there was because the altar was too high. I couldn't reach.
Wow.
I feel like my parents.
God had mercy on you, bro.
For real.
God,
Fire
my
should have came down.
My
Trust
parents,
me,
there was no
cuz.
God. My parents would have dragged me. Boy.
But like
That's crazy.
because of my friends, it was like even though I was being forced to go to church, I still enjoyed it because of them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I had
Yeah.
people like that I loved in church. Do you get what I'm saying? I had people like, for instance, like Janine and Eddie. Like I still speak to them. I still know them, and we were like friends when we were kids. I was scared of Janine, but we were like friends as kids. I really was, bro. She was rude.
Bro,
man, and
I
rude.
don't remember. I think I remember like I remember like a gist of Janine, but I don't remember fully.
Guys, do you want
I
to
would-
do you want to know
Go on,
something
go
funny
on.
about Eddie? Eddie used to fight in church.
No, I remember him.
What?
I remember
He used to
you.
fight in church.
When?
bro.
The
When?
thing is,
Bro, I
the
remember.
Portuguese kids were a different.
I
different
remember.
Me
You used to
breed.
fight in church. Fight in church, bro.
breed.
Seriously.
We used to fight in church. Listen, for us, like going to church was like literally going to school. But
Motive.
Yeah.
yeah, it was like a motive.
Kiddie motive.
Like,
Kiddie
Yeah.
motive.
wasn't it the same for you, Ella?
There was nothing to, and I think it's because it was an African church.
So
Nothing
it becomes
entertained
routine.
me. Pardon?
Was it a routine?
Hallelujah.
Was it more of a routine?
Yeah, literally. Like
Mhm.
nothing interested me about anything. They'll try and make things fun or
Interesting.
whatever, but no one, even the people I went with my age, they didn't care. No one cared. My mum would sleep. I would sleep. Like it was
That's
just
what I'm
a
gonna ask.
routine
Wow.
because you're African. So Africans go to church. You know, like there's no one cared really. I mean, the pastor and the pastor's wife, they cared. They cared. But no one else cared. Like I didn't care. So it was more of a routine. basically.
Do you think
It
you
wasn't
kind of
nothing.
like had no interest because like those of example around you, like in your household, didn't see like
Yeah.
the interest as well, like
That too. And
because I feel like go on.
yeah, it was kind of, maybe it was just me, but I was always scared because the thing that I would hear would be, oh, hell this, hell that, da-da-da. Then it made me turn against God because I would think, just why? I had so many whys. Like, why do I even have to do this? Why do I have to follow your way? Why are you so important that I even have to listen to, like, just why? So then I thought
So
the devil
because
was
there
better
was no
because
clarification for you, you just
literally
like
no understanding.
makes
That's
sense.
what made me not care,
I
really.
think, yeah, I'm trying to get it.
Yeah.
Because, like, for instance, with me, like, with my mum, like, she would, even if I didn't ask, like, she would break everything down for me. Like, always breaking.
What did you learn? What did you understand?
Yeah, you know,
from the
that you have
meeting?
to ask, like, what did you learn? Were you listening? It was. What was the
before
meeting about?
before the service. Go on.
Yeah, no. Did you finish?
Before the service, you better to be able to tell me what you learned after. You
Yeah.
better, but we used to get like homework and stuff, but we used to really take it serious. But I feel like it was because we had siblings in it. There was more than one of us. So it was like competition. It became more of a competition. But I feel like the fact that there was like something to attract us, it always kept us like, even though you lose interest in some stuff, you kind of like that small attraction that it had for us. That's what kind of kept us like held on. Because if we didn't had like none, like there was nothing appealing about it, nothing that we probably would have gone and we probably would have stayed up because there was nothing to attract us. There was no like bright side to it to come back. It's like, okay, I'm coming back, but what's the interest? Like I need, like most people is like when they come to church, they kind of need, especially when people come new, they need something to interest them. Like something needs to catch my attention, something needs to draw me to come. And for us, it was like we had that. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna come. I can come because I've got that interest. But I feel like if we didn't grow up with that interest, no, there's no interest. What am I coming for? Do you get it?
Yeah, something has to grab you. Like my plan was when I turn 18, I'm gonna go to university as far away from London to live my best life. And that was everyone around me had the same idea. No, like all of the kids, we all planned to just go so that we wouldn't have to come back. Then when we leave university, then we have no obligation to go back to the church because
you're older.
Exactly. Who can tell me what to do? You can't tell me what to do.
I kind of had that kind of like mentality as well, because like my mom always used to tell me, she's like, when you're 18, was it 18 or 16? I can't remember, but she used to tell me. She used to say, because I always wanted to grow my hair, my mom would never let me. She'd tell me, if you want to grow your hair,
man.
When you're 18,
yeah, for your pain, man.
Kid, you can have an
that razor just goes.
For real.
That was different to my parents. My parents
my mom used to cut my hair, so what I used to do, I would go and I'll wet it. And I'll sit in a chair, and then she'll put her hand on her head. I just look at her and smile. Can't cut my hair now. So
is it?
Yeah, like I used to do all these kind of things. So I kind of had that kind of like mentality. But even at that, it was like a thing of where when I was younger, what I wanted was to, how can I put it? I wanted to leave, but not fully leave. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
I wanted to be like, there's nothing wrong with them, but my goals was to be like a Sunday goer. Like you just see me Sundays. Like I arrive, if service starts at 10, I am there with my missus at 10 o'clock. And then what I wanted was for those people that were in Sunday school with me to be there. And then like we go there 10, like when service starts, we see each other, like, do you know, give a little nod, do you know, technology to each other, and then go. And then I had like my plans. I wanted to get tattoos, I wanted piercings, I wanted everything. But I was like, Sundays, I'm going to be there. Like I
feel like for me,
it was a part of me.
I had my plans, but not that like my plans. I had plans for myself, but I knew it would clash because I knew, if you know the truth, I tell you this, there's a certain point of view that you're going to be like, how far can I go with this life if I know the truth? Because it doesn't make sense. I can't do this because I used to play football. So I was never around because I played football. And I'll be like, no, but I know this is what I want to do, but I can't take this that far because I know I need to take God seriously. Like I know it's a need. Like, because like I feel like after a while, okay, as you get older and you go to church and the message is, this is not CBC understanding. You're grown. You understand things for the world the way it is. And you're like, okay, there's going to be a point where I'm going to have to drop this. And I don't know when, because I'm still interested in the things that I'm doing. But then it's like, it's not going to work out. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's going to clash. My world with the life and my world in outside and my world in church, it's going to clash one day. And I'm going to have to make a decision. But I always knew my decision was going to be with God. So like, bit by bit, like I've cut off football, but then I was still in the world. Like, I tried. I tell you, I tried. I feel like a whole year I cut off football, but then it was like parties.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me particularly, like I've grown up around the concept of hell. Like at a very young age, like the main services was all about, okay, if you don't obey God, it's like hell, like hell, the devil, Satan, fire, etc. So like, burn fire. Demons, etc. You know.
So Eddie, just one thing that came to my mind. I remember one point he said to me, one guy that I knew, he told me when he was a kid he was scared of putting his feet on the floor because they told him hell was because they told him hell was underneath, so he thought Satan was going to drag him down.
Oh wow.
Well, that's trauma. That's trauma.
Yeah. Trust that.
He used to come to church and sit with his feet on the chair.
That's pretty deep.
That is, that can mess up someone's head.
Yeah.
But it's like I've grown up around like the concept of hell, and I always knew that, okay, if I'm not with God and I die, like it's peak. So because I was born in the church kind of thing, so I had this label as a Christian, you know, I thought I was cool to an extent. Like I always said, okay, because I know there's two different paths, like, okay, there's the world, you know, like sin, etc. And then there's God, you know, like I had this plan where it was like, okay, I'm gonna do a madness in the world. I'm gonna enjoy the world. I'm gonna do things with girls. I'm gonna do this, etc. The third, and only when I'm like old and like, you know, like a stick in my hand just there, like, you know, that's when I kind of like
want to give
surrender and say, God, okay, you know, you know.
I heard that. I thought like with me growing up, I just thought that giving my life to God young, like I'm sure everyone would think this as well, just missing out on fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
That was literally the mindset. Fun. I am missing out on that. I'm not going to have any of it whatsoever. I'm not going to have fun. And
because like the
biggest, like, brother, now you got me saying like as well. That's the biggest lie ever, because my life is stress. It's not easy, but it's fun. I have a lot of fun, and I feel like I have fun. I have more fun in church and with people from my church now than I would have before. Because like Christians are normal people. We are normal people. We do normal things. I go eat out, I go cinema, I go go-kart, and I go paintball with my people. Like everything that you would do, like I still do those things, but then I don't do the things that cause a temporary joy. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think also one thing that helped me a lot was the fact that growing up in church and with my church as well, especially the one that I started in, Eddie and Janine, I know you guys can like vouch for that. You always hear testimonies.
Yeah.
In service, maybe not all the services, but in the main services that we have, like Sunday morning, there is always a testimony, whether it's played a video, whether it's the pastor sharing his own, or whether someone is being interviewed, you always hear it.
Yeah.
And as much as I wanted the things of the world, as much as I wanted to taste sin, it's like I would always hear people say they were doing the most, but they were still empty. And with the sin, and when I would indulge with sin it's like I would relate to that. I got what they were saying. Like, so that's what you meant when you felt good for a minute, then you were empty. And then that would just make me feel even worse. And it's like, why are you doing this? So with me, when I was like 12, like 13, what I did was, you know how like when you're young and then on road, you have like the elders that you look up to.
Yeah.
That's how it was for me in church. There was these group of guys, those guys were my elders. I loved it. Anything they told me to do, I would do. But the thing is that they were actual men of God. Like I looked up to these guys, and I used to like roll with them, like they like we would like. How can I explain it? It was literally like how it is outside. Like when you're on road and you look up to your elders, it was literally like that. So
Like brotherhood.
yeah, it was like a brotherhood kind of thing. So that also kind of hooked me. But the problem with that was I was looking to them and not looking to God. So then that caused a huge different struggle that I went through in my faith because I was looking to them and I wasn't looking to God. I became a people pleaser. So the way they would dress, I would dress. The way they would talk, I would talk. To the point I was walking like them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I was doing everything like these guys. And the way that I was in school completely changed. Like I was a bad, like not bad, but you know when someone's naughty.
Yeah.
I wasn't a bad kid.
We know.
I was never on report, but I was naughty.
Hey, don't act report.
I was naughty.
Report.
And I was smart about it as well. Because like I would finish all my work, then that's when I'll start acting up in class. So then the teacher come on a mad one, and I'm like, bro, I finished my work, so you can't even say anything. So keep it moving. Go speak to that one over there. Don't with the afro, he hasn't done his work.
I'm innocent. I finished.
Yeah. So like even the way I was at school, I changed because they used to ask about like, how are you in school, all these things. So I changed the way that I was at school, but it's like internally I was still the same. So I was doing all these things, making them happy, and then like I was of God, but really I was just so far.
I feel like it goes back to even the question of the topic, like the topic title was like, there's a difference, but the thing is we grow up thinking we know God, like we know, but we just have knowledge. Like we don't personally know him. And I feel like that's where people get easily caught up. You think you know him, but it's just your knowledge of him, what you've learned about him, what other people around you know about him. And you take that on and you think, yeah, that's me, that's my relationship with God. And it's not, it's just what you know about God, because generally, if you put the facts on the table, we don't know God. Like in that time, you did not know God. Like there was no relationship. It was just based on everything that was exterior, nothing interior.
Yeah, that's very, very true as well. At a young age, from what you said previously, Samuel, like when I was like younger, like the truth never hit me. Like I don't fully like remember, but like the truth like never hit me probably up until I could say probably secondary school. Like like I just like would hear like what testimonies, etc., like Bible stories and stuff, but like it never really hit me simply because like I couldn't like relate with them. Like the stories were like always mad. So I said like, wow, like I'm actually like a good person. Yeah, I don't like shoot people, I don't kill people, etc. So it's like that wasn't for me simply because like my lifestyle wasn't like theirs. So I instantly
you get comfortable.
Exactly.
You get comfortable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, I was like, I'm good. Like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I don't need to change.
I feel like that's. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry for cutting you, Eddie.
No worries.
I feel like that's something that happens as well when you grow up in church. You start to create these capital sins in your mind because for God, sin is sin. But for us, it's like, as Eddie was saying, I was in church. I wasn't doing madness. Like people were coming, they were giving their testimonies. Oh, I did this, I did that. Most I did after Sunday morning, went shop, stole. Like I was a thief. That's the most I did. That was the most I was on. I was stealing and chatting to girls. That's it.
Bro, I was a stealer. I'm telling you, like big stores.
No, I couldn't do that.
It's another story.
Sammy, if they find you, if they call your mom, oh gosh,
for real, my mom. So I had to steal the stuff that I could get rid of before I get home. So, because in my mind and because of what I heard, it's like I start to section sins. These murder, adultery, that wrong. But if I steal here and there, if I lie, if I do this, I'm fine. You start putting yourself, you start making up purgatory like it's fine. Like I'm going to purgatory, it's okay. My parents will pray for me or someone will pray for me and I'll leave and I'll go to heaven eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
I never deeped. You know, I never in my life understood what purgatory is. So I never understood, it wasn't an option in my mind because I never understood it. I've never even tried to understand it. Only when I started to take God seriously, I understood what the idea of purgatory is. And I'm happy I did not know about it when I was in the world. Because I feel like because I even tried to belittle, like, you know, we have this idea of there's levels to sin, there's lying, there's stealing. Mine was starting to get a bit higher, but I wanted to make it seem like it was lower. So I already started fighting, I already started drinking, I already started partying, stuff like that. But I would try to belittle it as much as I could because I was open about it. So I would come on Sunday, Pastor, Janine, you went partying? Yeah, Pastor, was it good? Yeah, but because I was open about it, I thought it was okay. Like, no, God needs honesty, he needs sincerity. And I would hear it. And our pastor would maybe they'll gun down like, this is the sin, you can't be doing this. And I'll be like, yeah, it's true. And then when he would say, but God understands sincerity, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm good over here because I'm sincere. And I feel like a lot of people, when they grow up, it's like, I'm doing what I'm doing. And if I'm sincere about it, God's going to forgive me. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm actually good.
Yeah, that's
because I wasn't accused.
Yeah, that's a big problem as well. Like we, especially as like kids as well, like we learn about, okay, God is loving, God is all about forgiveness. So at a young age, we kind of like train ourselves to take advantage of that forgiveness. So we would like do wrong on purpose, knowing that, okay, if I ask for forgiveness, I'll just be forgiven basically. So like at a very young age, like we tend to like take advantage of that, like, and it's like, it's peak, it gets like bad and stuff, but
you have unlimited credit with God. Limited forgiveness. I'm gonna keep on doing it. God's got me, man.
Trust me.
I can do quote unquote unlimited repentance.
Whatever I want.
God as much as I want. Yeah.
Trust me, I can do whatever I want. God forgive me, done. I'm clean. Tomorrow, do the same madness. God forgive me, and then done.
I feel like that's why, as someone that grew up in a church, I hated the message. You know that message, whenever they would talk about all sin is sin, and I did not like it because, like, it's true. When all sin is sin.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's no levels to the sin. Like, going back to what you were saying before, like I did not like that message. Because for me, in my head, I persuaded, I was that person that told myself, no, there is levels to sin. There's like, this is okay. This is like the forgivable sin. This sin is not forgivable. This, like, do you get what I mean? I already had this idea in my head, like, if I do this, God's gonna brush it off his shoulders. Like, it's not that deep. But if I do this, I can't do. So there was like levels to what I did. Like, there were certain things that I never did in the world. Like, it was a big no for me. No, I can't touch it. Like, more of the fighting side, drinking stuff. But when it came to stuff like being promiscuous, no. I said, no, that's the worst. God will never forgive me for that. So that's where that's how high I went. But for me, it was like, because I didn't go that high, everything below was all right. Because there was no like effects there was no like consequences that will be so oblivious to everyone. So I thought, because the consequences of these sin are not too open to everyone, if it goes wrong, then I'm good. Because like, no, I'm fine. Like it was like protection. We had an ego. It's like, because you think you want to protect yourself, you want to like, oh God, like, this is not that deep. This is like, it's just like, it's like, I'm gonna do it again, but it's not as bad as it could get. I'm not gonna level it up to the worst.
The consequences were like never there.
Yeah. I feel like that's it, because I never. after getting like, because the most I used to think, I wasn't worried about what God thought. I was more worried about if my parents found out. Once they found out, it was like,
Yeah,
oh,
facts.
I
was
fear
like-
my parents more than
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, imagine.
I'm telling there's certain things that I had the opportunity to do. There's certain things I wanted to do. The reason why I didn't do it is not because what would God think, is what would my mom think, what would my dad think.
Facts,
Yeah.
facts.
Literally, I thought,
Them beatings were waiting for me, boy. I'm
Listen.
telling you.
you know the amount of times I could have stolen bikes, but the thought was not God would be upset. Is where would I keep the bike?
Oh,
Yeah.
Where would the
Trust
bike
me.
go?
The shed.
Well,
I ain't got a shed.
I ain't got a shed. Wait, she's gonna sit in the garden.
Where's-
She's gonna see it.
Trust me.
Do you know what I mean? There was
the way
so
I was, I feel like. I
Where'd
had
you
to
get the
push-
bike from, son?
Try and
I
tell,
found
try
it.
and
A
tell them,
friend,
my
a
friend.
friend.
My mum will
friend.
make me take me to the friend's house to give it back. You
I
know,
said, take it back.
Trust me,
yeah.
trust
Yeah.
take it back. Said it's late. My dad said I'll drive you.
Trust.
Which
Yeah.
road?
You're returning this item today.
Bro,
Literally, them ones.
like the fear
Yeah.
that my parent and that goes back to kind of what we were speaking about on the last episode with Eman from That Time Again podcast, where I gave that example about that pastor that said he asked the congregation to explain to their children why it made sense that Jesus died on the cross. And the kids didn't know the answer, neither did their parents. And it's a thing of where we become like, how can I explain it? We're just fine with hearing what others say about God. And and a lot of people, they don't dive in. And I feel like that's why people grow up in church, or even if you didn't grow up in church, maybe you're in church for like 5-6 years. Do you know what I mean? You've even had responsibilities in church and stuff like that. And you feel like you are that Christian, you know, like you're the model Christian. Of course, I don't believe there is a model Christian, but it's because you don't dive into the word yourself. And I feel like a lot of the things that we spoke about here today, a lot of the issues that we face as individuals growing up in church, whether it was a lack of interest from Emanuela, whether it was like, you know, you're sinning and these sins are okay, or like as Adair said, I'm going to change, but I'm going to change when I'm old. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it may have been, it's because we never took the time to understand the word from ourselves. We never understood the truth for ourselves. We were just hearing. You heard the pastor say this. You heard this in Sunday school. If you went to, you know, you attended the youth ministry, you heard this there, and that was it. And I feel like if you guys disagree, then please say. But I feel like with all of us, once we started to have a relationship with God and once we start to dive into the word, that is when our true relationship with God began. I am a firm believer that just because you come to the church does not make you a Christian. And the reason being is because the scripture says, if you do not have his spirit, you are not his. And the way that I interpret that is, if you do not have, for instance, when you look at Moses is first encounter with God when the bush, like when, you know, the bush was on fire, da-da-da. After that moment, no one could have told Moses anything. Doesn't matter who you were, you will not be able to tell Moses that God was fake because he met God. He knew who God was. And if you don't know who he is, if you haven't met him, if you and him are not one, you are just a hopeful agnostic. You believe there is a God, but you do not know who God is. Like, that's just what it is. And maybe you're listening, maybe you're in this kind of predicament where you have been in the church for years, you've grown up in the church, and you don't see the point. You're losing hope, you're losing interest, or maybe you've just been in the church and you haven't been able to let go of sin. I feel like that's the advice that I would like each and every single one of you listening today to take away. Dive into the word.
Absolutely.
dive and get to know the word. Because once you get to know the word, once you have that communion with God, everything will make sense.
Yeah, because like,
Understand for yourself.
yeah, it's like using common sense, basically. Like, we can't see God, we can't touch God, we can't feel God. So like, when people say Christianity, they instantly think about religion, you know, and the way, you know, you see it is incorrect, basically, because it's like, first of all, you're using your faith in something that, you know, you can't see. So because God said himself, like, in the beginning was the word, you know, and the word was with God, and the word was God, you know, he was in the beginning with God. So that passage right there, you know, emphasizes that God is not what you can feel. God is not what you can see. God is not what you can taste, smell, using all of these human senses within this realm, basically, that we can sense things, we can see and stuff for us to believe. But God is the word. So that's why the Bible is so vital, because the only way we can know God is not by what we can see, but is by what we read in his words, because his word is God. Like, yeah, it's just like common sense, basically, you know.
And that's where
That's why he
understanding
says,
come from.
yeah, and that's why God emphasizes, especially in the Gospels, you know, don't doubt, just believe, 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 because he knows that us humans, right, like us humans, like, we are so like attached to senses. Like, if we
have a
can't see it,
tendency to doubt.
exactly, like,
Yeah.
if we can't see something, then it's not true. But that is not true, you know. Like, God's word is like so powerful. When we read it, that alone gives us courage. Like, just think of it for a second. A Bible that people say was written by men, let's say, we read it and we instantly gain courage. We instantly gain confidence and the strength to do things. Like, what other book can actually do that? And that's where it goes back to the passage I've said, God is the word. And I feel like Christians now, they don't touch the Bible. Like, with me, for example, like, there was one there was one particular Bible, yeah. I've left it there for like how many years? Checked the drawer, full of webs. I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
full of webs, bro. And you know, like, that's why I struggled to connect with God, because I didn't connect with the words, which is the only physical substance that I can communicate with God.
Exactly.
Also, I feel like you can't forget that reading the Bible isn't just like, because a lot of Christians would then say off of that, oh, but I do read the Bible, so that means I do have a relationship with God. But then the thing is, it's a routine religion. Again, use the routine, like, it's the routine of things, is how you were brought up doing things, is how you grew up. So then you believe, like, going back, you believe you have a relationship. But if it's routine, you haven't got anything. Like, a routine is like, I read the Bible. It's like reading a book. I picked up my book in my room and I decided to read it. It's not the same. People need to understand, when you go to the Bible, it's like when you go to school, like, I'm going to a lesson.
Sorry,
and
but the Bible's too sick. I just had to
it is. It is. I need to have an aim. Have you just been like, one time, when I learned that I could read anything, and in that moment there will be a word for what I'm going through in that moment. I started reading the Bible with an aim. Like, if I'm going through something and I read the Bible, God is going to help. Like, the answer that is going to come from that word is going to help me in that moment. And sometimes it's mind blowing the way, like, it's like,
that's so,
you know,
I'm sorry,
it's
that's
like,
so beautiful.
No, you didn't, God. No, you did not.
It's so,
Yes, you
when
did.
when God himself reveals stuff to you, it is amazing. It's
Yeah,
like, yo,
trust me.
hey,
It's so true.
hey, you're hearing me,
Like,
yeah?
There was
Hey,
Actually, you're talking to me, like, it's crazy.
literally.
And
There
that's
was
the
one
problem.
time.
Yeah. Go on.
No, you can go,
Sorry.
you can go. It's fine.
No, go. Ladies first.
I was just gonna say, there was one time I was praying. Yeah, this was in lockdown. So much things happened. I was praying for my sister because we weren't on good terms. Let me just put it like that. And it
Aw.
wasn't. Well, not.
Amen.
We were not on good terms. Yeah, but I think it was. Yeah. Anyways, and God just revealed something. It wasn't even to do with my sister. It was just to do with something that I had at the back of my mind. Bearing in mind, I didn't pray about this. I didn't open my mouth to tell him, but he knows all things. And he just answered my question. Like, I didn't even run it through you, and you're just speaking like this. Like, I'm not even praying about the, it's just cool. Like, it's actually sick. It's why I always say, like, God's cool. He's cool. Like, it's not really, it's not really, it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
Like, that's what blew my mind when I actually put something into practice and it came to pass. I was like, whoa, like, this is sick. Like, it's real.
It's real with 3 L's.
It's actually crazy.
3 L's. Not what, 3
It's
L's.
real. It's real.
Yeah, it's actually mad
what's
how
mad.
people believe that okay, ghosts exist and stuff, demons exist,
And
but then
and
it's
the
like,
Bible isn't true.
you know,
Yeah, I don't
like
get it.
like
You don't see
What
ghosts,
is
but you think it's haunting you.
yeah, it's like
Jesus,
like
you have to see. Come off it, mate.
trust me, man. Like it doesn't like make sense if like there's a negative but there isn't a positive. Like
The
it doesn't
positive to it, innit? There's a
sense.
good side to
That-
everything.
that-
That's
yeah,
bad.
exactly
sense.
like
Everything.
yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I had one thing as well, but I completely forgot. Oh my days.
Guys, we could be here for hours.
Trust
on
me.
Yeah, literally.
hours. But I don't even know how long the episode has been. But we're gonna wrap it up now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Adair, for coming on to the show. Guys, we're gonna have the
Pull up, man.
Pull up, man.
That I'm telling you, that slogan right there is going international. Go to Brixton and say pull up, man. I'm telling you. But yeah.
So we're gonna have the links to all of their socials down below. Make sure you guys hit them up, give them a follow as well. And don't
What socials?
I don't know, what socials do you have?
Check it. Barely.
Instagram.
Barely. Well, the ones that you barely have, they're gonna be down there as well. So make sure you guys give them a follow. Also make sure you guys cop that Big Fish merch as well. Sorry, not merch.
Bro, that Big Fish merch is bro. Oh my days. Like the merch is so fire, guys. Like the merch is so fire. I need one, bro. Like I need an endorsement or sign because
He said endorsement.
Who said endorsement? Yes.
Yeah, sponsorship.
Let's say sponsorship.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll have to pull up man on the t-shirt.
I don't deserve it, man.
He said I don't deserve it.
I'm a sinner, man.
But yeah, so make sure you guys go get your merch. Once you guys get it, take your pictures, tag us. We can repost it as well. Follow us, like, comment. I was gonna share. Wait, this is going on YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe.
Subscribe, man. Subscribe down below.
Right here below. Right here below.
And make sure you hit that notification bell if you're listening. Hey, you just need to do my sound effects, yeah.
Alright, cool.
And if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you guys follow up the page as well. So see you guys again to our next episode, and bye.
Peace.